name is Carl Pearl. I live here in Savannah, Georgia, and this is my Ford RS200, formerly a Hoonigan, and Ken Block's RS200. I mean, these are, you know, dreams come true. I mean, it's things that I loved as a kid that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to have, that I now own and get to enjoy. And I mean, we all chase things in life that make us feel special, whether it's, you know, clothes or perfume or trips or whatever. And driving these cars is special to me. I mean, it's not lost upon me how rare and spectacular they are, and it never gets old. I truly love them. You know, I never thought I would be able to have a Ford RS200. I was watching YouTube videos and I see that Ken Block had this car. And I remember watching the video, which I probably watched, you know, a dozen times, and thinking to myself that, you know, I don't know that I'll ever be able to own a Ford RS200, but if I do, it won't be as nice as Ken's. Well, there was an Evolution model on Bring a Trailer, and, you know, we're coming out of the pandemic, and who knows what's gonna happen in the world, and I called my dad because I just didn't feel comfortable, you know, making that kind of an investment without his approval, even though I'm a grown man. And I told him what I thought the car was worth and what it would be a good deal if I could get it. And I just wimped out. The next weekend, I was up early on a Sunday morning, getting ready to drive to South Carolina to make a house call for a patient. And sitting having breakfast, and I just did an internet search for Ford RS200 for sale. And this Motor Authority or Motor Trend kind of online article about Ken Block no longer being sponsored by Ford and selling his cars came up. You know, I knew what they had done to this car and how much they'd improved it and that it was so famous. And I clicked the link and I was shocked at what their asking price was. It wasn't really very much more than the one that had sold on Bring a Trailer the previous month. And they had the two owners' cell phone numbers at the bottom of their webpage. And I called the guy and offered them $40,000 less than their asking price. And I called a buddy of mine who, Jim Gillett, who has a Porsche rally car, and he's like the most enthusiastic guy about cars and life in general. He's just colorful, and he said to me, you know what that car's worth. You call him back right now and tell him you'll take the asking price if they'll ship it to Savannah, because you're gonna end up in a bidding war and you're not gonna get it. So I called the guy right back, and he's, you know, you got a deal. This is truly the most intimidating thing I've ever driven. For me, you know, it's a childhood dream come true. It sounds good, it's so raw, it's so hard to drive, it makes it very rewarding, but you know, I think back to those rally car drivers in the Group B era and the fact that they were going, you know, 100 miles an hour in the dirt with spectators 3 feet away trying to touch the car as it drove by. And it's just amazing to me how good they were. You know, it was from 1983 to 1986. Prior to Group B, manufacturers had to build 5,000 units of a car to race. And then with Group B, they had to only build 200. You know, it allowed manufacturers to just go crazy with what these cars could do. And the cars became so fast that, you know, drivers were dying. Actually, a Ford RS200 went in the crowd in Portugal in 1986, and then 2 races later, the best rally car in the world and the best rally car driver in the world went off the road, and they died. And the FIA was like, well, that's it. That's the end of Group B. And now they're kind of called the Killer Bees. It's a bit of a commentary about what happens when there's no rules and you can do what you want, and how far you can push technology and drivers' abilities. And Group B ended in 1986, but there were plans for 1987 for a faster Evolution model with a little bit bigger BDT motor. And so there were 24 of those in the world, and this is actually one of those. So I had the car delivered to Jay Frazier Sports Car Services, and I worked and wasn't sure when the car was going to come, and Joe sends me a text, it dropped, so I knew it was there, and it was just incredible. The other thing that was so special about it is my friends showed up, you know, like Jim Goodlett that convinced me to call the guy back, and you know, he shows up in his rally Porsche, and you know, as a single guy who doesn't have a lot of family left, it was really it's so cool that these friends were a part of this. I mean, I know that sounds kind of cheesy to say, but really that's one of the things that makes the car so special. Once Joe got it where I could drive it, there was a Cars and Coffee, and the car just wasn't ready to drive that far to get to it, and I don't know that I could have driven it there at the time. And I haven't had a chance to take this to Cars and Coffee. The last one we had, I was working and I couldn't go, and I'm so excited to do it because, you know, it's a special car. People will be excited about it, and I'll get Jim Goodlett to bring his Porsche rally cars, one of these rally cars, and Jim's actually a way better driver than I am, but you know, I'll talk a little smack that my rally car's faster than his, although if we were to actually race, he would probably still win. Ken Block had left the car in storage for a bit, and it wasn't quite as well sorted as I thought it would be. So we've done a little work to make it more drivable. We fixed the speedometer. Actually, when you put gas into the car, it just would go to the sidewalk or to the asphalt. It wasn't connected somehow, so we fixed that. We're going to put a rear view mirror in it, which is pretty exciting. There's a little piece of cardboard in the left mirror to keep the mirror up, because otherwise it looks at the ground and you're having to hold your finger to actually see what's behind you. You know, when you think about a car and it being good, you think about transportation and how good Honda and some of these cars are, and you know, this is a terrible car. I mean, like the mirror doesn't look at the ground, the speedometer doesn't work, and you know, it's so easy to stall, but we've done things to kind of make it more drivable. I really have two collectible cars now. I have this Ford RS200, and I also have a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 with a manual transmission. And that having a manual transmission is what makes that car special and rare. I think there were around a little over 30 in North America, and there are, I think, about 17 left that are good cars without salvage titles. But it's a very special car too. You know, I never thought I'd own a Lamborghini, and so, you know, I'm not some super collector that's got a warehouse full of cars, but you know, the ones that are special and matter to me, I've been very fortunate to acquire and enjoy. And you know, as far as a Lamborghini, you watch these YouTube videos of people with these cars, and you know, they talk about how great it is, and they take them out on a Sunday, and it's just mountain road, and it's serene, and that's not really reality. I mean, the cars attract a lot of attention, and it's kind of awkward, and then, you know, people assume if you own a Lamborghini, you're a horrible human being, which is unfortunate because they're pretty cool cars. So the reality is, you know, I pretty much drive these cars to take my friend's sons for a ride in them. You know, there's this great Lamborghini commercial kind of on YouTube when the Aventador S came out, of this good-looking 30-year-old dude at a party at some chateau, and he gets annoyed with everyone there and just, you know, kind of deuces out and hops in this Aventador S and goes down the road, and it's, you know, gorgeous, it's making these sounds, he's so happy, and you know, the cars are awesome to drive, but that's not what owning one's really like, you know. Giving back with them is very important. There's this Instagram video of this guy taking a special needs kid for a ride in a Huracan, and the kid's so happy he starts crying, and you can tell that the owner does too, and his kind of joke hashtag is, "I'm not crying, you're crying." But like, that's kind of what owning these cars is about. You know, you're lucky if you have one. If you think you deserve one, then you're an idiot. Like, you're just really fortunate if you have one. And the LBI Limited that sold me the RS200 had a couple posts about the car, and some guy posted, you know, I bet it was some wealthy guy and it's just chump change and he'll put it in a museum and never drive it. And you know, that's not really true. I mean, it was a huge commitment to me to acquire this car, and I drive it. I mean, I may not be good at driving it compared to the rally car drivers of the 80s, but if I don't stall it, it's a pretty big victory in that car. It requires so much presence. And I think that's what's special about the car. You know, you work hard and you've got stresses in life and you're always thinking about something, and then when you get in this car, it's being very in the moment. And for me, that's not always easy to achieve with work and life, and so I think that's one of the things that makes it so very special.